Hello everyone, xForts here, and welcome to another episode of Standoff. This episode is going to be more traditional in the sense that the two stands featured have very similar abilities. And the stands we're going to be talking about today are Spice Girl and Vitamin C. To put it simply, both of these stands make things soft. Although they share this ability, the definition of soft is very different for each stand. So today, myself and fellow YouTuber Meti by Shimoneta will be analyzing these stands, and then we will compare them to decide which softening stand is superior. To kick off this episode, I will be analyzing the stand Spice Girl.
Spice Girl! Tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me.
Spice Girl's stand user is Trish Una, the daughter of Vento Arreo's main villain Diavolo, and she is a certified JoJo babe who awakens her stand about halfway through part 5. Moving on to Spice Girl's analysis, starting with personality. Spice Girl is one of the very few stands in the series that actually talks to its user. Spice Girl appears to have its own consciousness similar to Echo's Act 3, as it demands its user to give it orders and commands. And also it will give Trish advice during battles. Spice Girl has one thing extremely unique about it, and it's the fact that it verbally gave itself the name Spice Girl. Spice Girl did this after Trish continued to refer to the stand using pronouns like her and she. As for Spice Girl's battle cry, the stand will shout in reference to the Spice Girls song, Wannabe. Moving on to Spice Girl's abilities, starting with its signature softening. This ability allows Spice Girl to soften any material, even the hardest of diamonds. Although this seems like a very simple and mundane ability, if the user is creative enough, it can make for a very effective stand with such a particular type of power. Being able to soften any material can make for uses like providing cushion for a softer landing at life-threatening heights, creating a backlash effect when objects are turned back to normal after softening them, replicating a catapult when pulled and released, and also softening projectiles for defense, all of these techniques being showcased by Trish while she was working together with her stand. What it actually means when Spice Girl turns something soft is that it is very similar to rubber, so although she makes something soft, it won't easily be damaged or broken, but rather stretchy like elastic, and in some cases, it's used to actually provide an object with more durability. Spice Girl uses its raw physical strength combined with its softening ability to create immense destructive power with a sense of protection. This technique has been able to completely detach the front cabin of a plane extremely quickly and then soften the rest of the cabin to make for a safe and cushioned landing from 6,000 meters high. So although Spice Girl's raw physical strength might not be that good by itself, since it's always able to make anything soft, its strength is always being amplified anytime it punches something because of its softening ability, but in other situations, softening object can actually increase the durability, like we saw the door that actually protected Trish when she used Spice Girl's ability to make it soft and stretchy, so the door wouldn't just bust open. So pretty much, Spice Girl can make things soft that can benefit her in different ways, and also it just has incredible strength. Now on to the highlight moment. My personal favorite Spice Girl moment was of course in its fight with Notorious B.I.G., but specifically when Spice Girl stabbed B.I.G. with a pipe extremely violently. This scene was just really unexpected and not something I saw coming from a stand possessed by Trish. But it was just so badass seeing a stand as feminine as Spice Girl pulling off something that brutal. And I just want to throw this in there that Spice Girl is one of my personal favorite stands. Spice Girl's stand stats are an A in destructive power, A in speed, C in range, B in durability, D in precision, and C in development potential. And remember, Spice Girl is best girl.
Alright, now that xForts is done babbling about the trash girl Trish, have you ever noticed that trash and Trish are literally a one-letter difference? Let me, Meti, the raging alcoholic of the JoJo community, talk to you about the real babe of JoJo's stand, and that real babe being Damo. And his stand, Vitamin C. Vitamin C is a stand that lacks any actual will of its own. It seems to follow Damo's commands, and it lacks a actual personality like Spice Girls, where Spice Girls seems to be a actual sentient stand. Vitamin C only acts out what Damo wants. So Vitamin C is only as dangerous as its stand user is sadistic. And luckily for Vitamin C, Damo is one sadistic fuck. Let's get into his abilities. So, Vitamin C has a softening ability. This is why this is the fight, because they both have some form of like softening type of ability. But the way that Vitamin C's works is if you come in contact with one of its fingerprints it leaves behind by the many hands underneath it, it begins to it's described as softening, and it's a good descriptive term, but it's more like melting without any actual melting going into it, where your body will just become to like jellify, and you become liquidy, to the point that he can throw a fish inside of you and it can swim around inside of you as if you were water. And Damo takes the opportunity to use this to torture his victims. He likes to use simple objects, like I said, he uses a fish. He also uses a 1,000 yen bill he folds up and slices off body parts entirely. But your body is moldable like clay, so you can put them back together if need be, because you are no more than clay in his hands. It basically turns you to clay. Like melty, goopy, watery clay. Another thing that vitamin C does is it takes an effect on your stands as well. Unless you are actually unable to read images, like most JoJo wiki mods are, and you think that it has no effect, then you need to take a look at King Nutcall and Soft and Wet during the fight, where Soft and Wet's arm splits apart and is this goopy mess, and when King Nutcall gets flushed down the drain with Joshu, like, it takes effect on the stand as well. Vitamin C not only melts you, it melts your stand, and its range is unknown. Because, let's get to the stats of vitamin C, it has unknown in all of its stats. The only thing we do know is that the range was the entire Higashikata household. Also, the strength of vitamin C is called into question because he does use it in one combat scenario during the flashback against Kira and Josefumi. But Kira's stand at the time was weakened by its soften ability, and it does hit Killer Queen, whose durability I believe is a B. But for fairness sake, I'm going to say that when Vitamin C's soften ability takes into effect, stand durability drops to like D or E, because you don't get to fight back when you're a goopy pile of clay on the ground. Also, if you take a look during that fight with Yoshikage Kira, he is able to stop multiple sheer heart attacks, which have a speed of C. So his stand is at least a C in speed, if not more, because he is able to prevent Killer Queen from hitting him with any of his sheer heart attacks. Though if I was going to assume the actual stats of Vitamin C, I would say that Vitamin C stats were a C in destructive power, because it seems to have regular human strength, but it would become an A if the opponent is softened, because it is much more stronger than they are at that time. Its speed would be a B because it has to be at least faster than, you know, things like sheer heart attack. Its range would be B because it takes the entire Higashikage household up, and that's a pretty big, like nice mansion-like house. It's fucking huge, and it covers the whole thing. Pretty good range. I say D in durability because I base this off of the fact that Mandem, a stand that's quite like Vitamin C in its design-wise, not power-wise, it has an E in durability, and I feel like Vitamin C is just the right step above to be more durable, but it still doesn't look like it can take much of a punch. Then its precision I put down B because he was able to precisely place like fingerprints all over the house wherever he wanted it to be, but they were never like perfectly placed because people were still able to notice them well. And his developmental potential doesn't really matter because he as a stand user doesn't need to develop anymore right now. And it could be an E or it can be an A because it doesn't matter for the story as a whole. And if I had to pick a favorite scene involving Vitamin C and Damo, it would have to be the torture sequence on the boat with Josefumi and Yoshikage Kira. When Damo flips his shit and he throws the phone and he's like, I'm sorry, I lost my cool. If you guys tell me where you are keeping my fucking fruit, one of you will live, the other will die, because I'm a fair man. Now I think that Damo and Vitamin C would come out on top against Trish, hands down, mainly due to the fact that Damo is conniving and planning and scheming enough that it's all a matter of getting Trish to touch one fingerprint and she's done for. Trish not only isn't used to stand fighting as a whole, but she's not used to being watching her surroundings. Sure, she was able to defeat a Notorious B.I.G., but that was only due to sheer luck and her stand ability being the perfect counter to Notorious B.I.G. And the fact that, falling from a plane made their landing soft and they cut off half of a plane, she needed a lot of plot convenient tropes to help her win this fight, where Damo nearly beat an entire household of stand users and was only defeated by his own arrogance.
Well, I can't really argue with that, but I will say that I think Spice Girl is a much better stand for utility purposes. As we saw, Damo does not have the ability to turn inanimate objects into that soft substance that's sort of like clay and wet. So no doubt, Vitamin C is a better stand than Spice Girl when it comes to inflicting damage and just in a combat sense in general, because of the way that Damo uses it really perfectly, as it is an amazing stand for torturing. But Spice Girl has a ton of other different uses, like having the ability to use its ability on inanimate objects opens up so much more creativity than Vitamin C would have, because of the different way that Spice Girl works, turning things into sort of, you know, rubber and elastic rather than just melty clay. And the rubber elastic property, it just opens up so much more possibility for utility use. Or maybe even combat use, just depends on how the user uses it. So for this episode of Standoff, we'll let you guys decide. There will be a card in the top right where you guys can vote on which stand is just better overall, Spice Girl or Vitamin C. Thank you guys for watching yet another episode of Standoff, and also thank you to Meti for coming on the channel and discussing this matchup with me. There will be a link to Meti's channel in the description where you guys can find other anime videos and of course JoJo videos. Like this video if I fought your boredom, and also subscribe for more videos. In the description there will also be the playlist to Standoff where you guys can watch all of the other episodes, and I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed.